Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in opposition to this amendment, despite, in good faith, this being introduced by Lieutenant Governor Garamendi. America's strategic nuclear deterrent is instrumental and proven to be the best example of our nation with our allies and partners ensuring peace through strength. With the unprovoked invasion of Ukraine with mass murder by war criminal Putin and Russia's recent decision to transport nuclear weapons to the dictatorship in Belarus, the United States must be ready to face any challenge if provoked. As with plutonium pit production and modernization is one of the most critical and pressing national security needs. I'm really grateful that as the only member of Congress who's ever worked at the Savannah River site, I know firsthand of the capabilities and competence of the persons who work there. The Savannah River site in South Carolina plays a key role for this national security need. The Savannah River site is working around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to bring the Savannah River plutonium processing facility, which will produce the majority of our nation's supply of plutonium pits, online as soon as possible. We should not be removing deadlines for reclaiming this important capability. We should be working to figure out how we can best meet the current statutory timelines to ensure we can achieve peace through strength. It must be appreciated that plutonium pits are a key component for nuclear weapons. Given the uncertainties regarding plutonium aging and the evolving geopolitical landscape, the United States cannot postpone reestablishing this critical capability. Delaying the restoration of this capability would result in significant cost increases and risk to national security. The credible deterrence of actual nuclear capability, as has been cited previously by Congressman Seth Moulton, must be maintained to ensure peace through strength with strategic stability. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the ranking member.
Yeah, there's a fundamental misunderstanding here. Mr. Garamendi and we all want to make more pits. The problem is there is literally no way that the requirement of 80 pits a year by 2030 is going to be met. And actually, at this point, we are kind of counting on Savannah River. This is not a dig at Savannah River. It's just that it's not going to be ready. I don't know how much this has actually been put out there. So it's not going to be ready by 2030. Let's put it that way. And it's not going to be real close, okay? Like within a decade, maybe, roughly. So we have a requirement on the books for our military to do something that is completely and totally impossible for them to do, okay? And there isn't anyone here who can dispute that. I would literally bet my entire life savings on the fact that there is no way that we are going to be producing 80 pits by 2030. And it's not going to happen, and that's the requirement that is currently in the law. And that is what can lead to some poor cost decisions. So what we're asking here is get us as many pits as soon as possible, but come back with a realistic plan. It's not about saying we don't need to do this. It's saying we need a better plan and we need a more realistic timeline because we're not going to meet the statutory requirement that's in law. And there's just no way that's going to happen. If somebody can, yeah, I'll yield to Mr. Wilson, certainly.
And Ranking Member, again, thank you for visiting the Savannah River site, so you understand. But I do disagree. The Manhattan Project was also equally speculative. And then it's ironic, the Savannah River site is the site of where the first scheduled railroad in the United States occurred in 1832 from Charleston to Hamburg, South Carolina. And it was reported not to ride on the railroad because if the railroad exceeded 25 miles an hour, a human body would disintegrate. So we need to truly look at what can be done.
Reclaiming my time, if I could, for just a second. We're not speculating here, okay? I mean, I'm with you. We'll go to the moon in a decade and we'll figure it out. We've been thinking about this one for a lot of time, and we've been building on it. And again, I guarantee you, there is no way that we are going to meet that deadline. So we are going to violate the law. So we need to rethink that, I think, to have a realistic deadline. But we've had this argument every year. I'm sorry for belaboring the point. It's a good amendment. We ought to vote for it. I'm aware of the fact that we won't, but we should. So I urge adoption.